Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's blog number 3, the Badger blog. It's been a busy week, mostly centering on what's just happened over the weekend. It was an incredibly busy weekend, but before that there were lots of meetings and a certain amount of writing, because of course writing the new show, Storyteller, is the priority, as well as of course trying to find dates and additional performances and times and other things, so that people can come and see it, which is very important. So this week, 2 new stories came into being. I'd love to say that I actually sat down and wrote them, but I've just sort of vaguely shaped out what they're going to be. One is going to be a very long one. I intend to have at least one fairly sizable monologue of about 40-50 minutes. It'll probably be the majority of, or the complete first half of the show, and I want to have 2, maybe 3 of those so that I can alternate them across the run. And I've been talking with people in my hometown of Lavenham about doing a show there in October, and so one story came out of that, and discussions and stuff to do with local history. So I've just started sketching out a story called The Ghosts of Lavenham, and I'm sure there'll be lots of news to do with that in the next couple of months or so as I start building that and pulling material together. There's a lot of research I want to do for that one. I'd like the stories to be based on, if not true stories, at least local stories. And that will go into the mix, and will probably alternate with the troll story, which I've been working on, which you already have heard some details about, and which more will come soon as that comes into more fruition over the next few weeks. The other story I've been working on is just called Train Story, or it's to do with something that happens on a train, incident on the train, something like that. I'll come up with a better title. I don't know what it's going to be called, but something happens on a train and it's about trying to decipher what happened. It's based on something that actually almost happened to me. It didn't actually happen to me, it sort of almost happened to me. So I'm going to twist that and take that further and see what happens. As with most of my stories, what I like to do is say to myself, how can I make this worse? What more can be done to make this situation different, more unusual, more not unpalatable. There is an issue also with the balance of stories in the collection that I'm working on, is that there is a balance between the jokey, light-hearted material and that which is more serious. And at the moment I haven't really got much that is desperately serious, and I don't want it to turn into just a sketch show or something like that. It's got to be a broad mixture of techniques and ideas. So still balancing with that and trying to find themes and ideas. So at the moment the list of stories that are potential is building, and we shall see which ones make the grade when we get to the writing/rehearsal process. At the moment I'm just sitting down in front of my exciting laptop. It's not exciting at all. In front of my laptop and just writing and not testing the material as I go. I will get to a stage in about a month's time where I will go to my little rehearsal space, which is my garage, and start working on the material there. I'm avoiding that at the moment, partly because I just want to get the words down, but also because as a space it's a bit cold, as it's still essentially winter. So when the spring comes properly, then the rehearsals and the shaping as a workshop process will become more apparent, and I will be able to start showing you pieces. I've decided not to show you anything yet, because it's still very hypothetical, so I'll just share some of that process in my written blog, which details of which will be appended to this in the view bit on YouTube. So this weekend has been very busy. On Saturday I put together a few people to come and read through one of my plays called Amleth, or part 1 of Amleth. It's a 2-part epic. First piece is called The Weapons of Amleth, and it was a very, very effective little read through. It worked very well. A couple of little footnotes and things I need to change, a few stage directions, one or two words I'm going to change, but broadly speaking, that first part is now set. So we had a very productive little session, and that will now start going out to exciting places and see whether anyone is interested in putting on it as a production, because at the moment I have no intention of doing it myself. I was focusing only on the storytelling angle, but that was always pleasant. The other thing which happened from Saturday into Sunday is we started, and when I say we, I don't mean the royal we, Simon and Kat of Teaching Gods and Other Stories cast came down here. We built a little sound booth, improvised little space, and Peter, my sound engineer, came down, and following last week's test, which came out very nicely, we managed to get down and record a keynote speaker with Simon, and Bink with Kat, and both of them also worked on the alternative seagull. So those are stories all from the book collection, Teaching Gods and Other Stories, which will also be returning. Oh yes, this is breaking news, smashing things. Breaking news on. We will be doing a one-off special of stories from this Teaching Gods and Other Stories collection, which we did a couple of years ago, various runs in London, but we're going to do a one-off special, partly to promote the CDs and the downloads when they happen, but also just for those who keep missing it, especially for those who keep missing the other one we recorded, the Alternative Seagull, which is possibly one of the silliest and most enjoyable stories that we've done. Now, the Alternative Seagull is a story that's all based around the production of The Seagull, which, well, I'm here, I may as well mention, of course, that tomorrow, which is probably today by the time this gets uploaded, Tuesday, there will be the first night of The Seagull by Anton Chekhov down at the Baroness Court Theatre. I mentioned this the other week. It will be starting on Tuesday and will be on for 2 weeks, and I do heartily ask you all to go in my place. I will be trying to catch it some way through the run myself, and maybe we can share thoughts on how exciting and lovely it is. So on that sort of rambling note, that's what's been going on this week. Recording, reading, adminning, and a little bit of writing. Next week I intend to do a lot more writing, or this week I intend to do a lot more writing. Really getting to grips with some of the stories that I've been working on over the last month or so, and starting to turn them into a much more solid form that I can start rehearsing. So have a good week, and goodbye.
This is Robert Crighton.
It seems to be a small cuddly toy bear.
Well, I like to think that it's Robert Crichton. I hardly ever get to be actually in his presence, so I like to pretend this is he. And that one day maybe I will be in the presence of the great Robert Crichton.
Yeah, we're not using that.